In the beginning of 2010, a serial killer was prowling the streets around Tatarstan Republic in Russia, breaking into apartments of elderly women and strangling them to death. The unknown assailant had victims in a dozen of cities situated around Volga River, which earned him the nickname Volga Maniac as Russian authorities struggled to capture and bring someone to justice. The Volga Maniac took at least 26 lives in 2011 and 12, but the list of victims could possibly stretch longer. All the victims were elderly women, aged between 75 and 90 years old. It was the similarity between the murders that caused the authorities to consider the crimes linked. Yet the range of cities and disguises used by the killer, often posing as a social services or utilities worker to gain entry into the home, meant that it took years before they could unmask the Volga Maniac. Radik Tagirov admitted to murders after he was apprehended by the Russian Investigative Committee. Tagirov had no prior record of violence or aggression, but did have a petty theft conviction back in 2009. Tagirov claims that following that arrest, he was impoverished, unemployed, and desperate for money. He robbed his victims after killing them, which Tagirov stated was an opportunity for easy money. He claimed that his crimes were not planned. The Volga Maniac would identify his victims in public places and follow them home, always targeting those who lived alone in 60s-era apartment complexes. He claimed that he was simply looking for money, used strangulation as it was quick and painless, and targeted women toward the end of their lives. However, there is serious doubt about Tagirov's macabre sympathy for his victims and decision to go beyond simple robbery. Tagirov reportedly used objects found within victims' apartment to strangle or smother them to death after overpowering them. Objects used included aprons and clotheslines, although if there was nothing within reach. After going quiet for a few years, Tagirov sparked a new killing spree in 2017. Eventually, a $40,000 reward was offered for information leading to his arrest. Though the lack of a murder weapon may seem like the murders were a spur-of-the-moment affair, Tagirov's claims that murders were spontaneous are also likely false. Not only did Tagirov always wear gloves when he went out, he also had supplies to clean and sterilize the apartment to get rid of any evidence or scents for a dog to pick up on. His claims were questionable in the first place, as it might have been easy to simply rob the elderly women without strangling them, which, by all accounts, is far away from a painless process. In fact, some apartments were left with their valuables untouched. So how was the Volga Maniac captured after years of evading authorities, even after being photographed by security cameras? Actually, extensive DNA evidence helped. The Russian Investigative Committee went through painstaking forensic research and analysis to first conclude that the murders were being committed by one person, and then connected their DNA to 38-year-old locksmith and the father of 2 children. Over 10,000 genetic tests were carried out, which analyzed everything from the genotype of attacker to footprints found in the snow. Tagirov, a resident of Kazan, the capital of Tatarstan, and most common location for his killings, could end up becoming one of Russia's most prolific serial killers, as it's possible that a number of confirmed victims could rise to 32. This would put him behind Mikhail Popkov, an ex-police officer who killed 78 women throughout 90s and 2000s, and Alexander Pichushkin, the chessboard killer, who took 48 lives in an attempt to kill one person for each one of 64 squares on a chessboard. By the way, I have episodes about both of these killers, so after you finish these episodes, make sure to watch the ones about chessboard killer and Mikhail Popkov. I'll make sure to put them on the end screen so it will be easier for you to find them. While the Volga Maniac may be safely behind bars, there are still some questions lurking around the case, particularly around the motivation. Radik Tagirov was in tears as he confessed to his crimes after his arrest in 2020, admitting that he might have killed more than 25 times, but couldn't remember all the victims. While it is strange that DNA evidence took so long to lead investigators to Tagirov, given that he had a criminal record, a big question still remains over the motive. What possibly led Tagirov, a man with no violent history, a supposedly unremarkable childhood, to confess to killing so many defenseless elderly women? If desperation and homelessness were enough to have him simply rob his victims, it would be more understandable. But the suspected Volga maniac chose to kill every time, and sometimes even neglected valuables in the house. Tagirov said he could not explain why he chose to murder instead of simply rob, and with only limited information on his life before, during and after his killing sprees, it's a mystery we might never truly understand. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode, and if you did listen it to the very end, I hope that you enjoyed it. In this case, please hit the like button or comment under this video because it's going to help me a lot with YouTube algorithm. It's actually very hard to grow a new channel on YouTube nowadays, but it would help me a lot. Also make sure to watch 2 more episodes, the one about chessboard killer and about Mikhail Popkov, ex-policeman who chose to be a serial killer. Thanks and see you next time. Bye bye.